Welcome back to Boo You Gore, guys. I'm Anetta, your host.
And I'm Jade.
I think we say every week, this is an interesting one, or fortnight, however we do it.
Yeah.
I feel like every time we're like, oh, this is a good one. This is an interesting one. They're all interesting. They're all good. I think it's going to be like that for a while until once you sort of clear your palette, I guess, of like all these things that you've had on the tip of your tongue that you've wanted to research, once we sort of get that out of our system.
Because there's so many things we're so excited to do.
Yeah, exactly. But today we're doing Cecil Hotel. So I say we're doing it. I did a little bit of research on Cecil Hotel, which is what I'm going to do. Not many people have actually heard of Cecil because a few people were asking me what we're doing next. And I kept saying that, Cecil Hotel, I really want to do that. And everyone's like, what is that? No one's heard of it.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought it was more known.
Yeah, but I guess if you're not like a full-on true crime head,
oh, yeah, I suppose.
you're probably not like...
Because you picked, like, some people didn't even know who the Night Stalker was. When I was like, yeah, he stayed there as well.
Like, who? Like, who?
Like, why am I friends with his
Like, why do I care who stayed at this hotel?
Yeah. Well, some people do. Right. So for those that don't know what the Cecil Hotel is, it's a hotel that's located in Skid Row area of downtown Los Angeles. And it's been known for its checkered history with many suicides, many accidental or unnatural deaths occurring there. I knew that happened, but when I started researching, I didn't even bother writing all the names down. I just put a link in to all the deaths in there. That's how many there are. It was a long list of suicides and crazy far-fetched deaths that had happened there.
I think that's the big thing about it too. Like, it's not just ordinary deaths. It's like everything that's happened there's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh yeah, someone just died in their sleep. No, there's like all these other layers.
That you start to question. You're like, is this a supernatural occurrence? Is this like, you just question everything because it just seems so, like, is that far-fetched?
Yeah.
So as well as all those things occurring there, it was also a hotspot for serial killers. So I don't know if he was the first one that happened to stay there, but Richard Ramirez, who we did an episode on the other week, the Night Stalker, he stayed there for a short period of time. So because it wasn't essentially just a hotel, it was like I guess like what we would call housing trust.
Oh,
I think. So it was like a housing area. Like, people stayed there for very long periods of time and lived there. Richard lived there for, I think it was a couple weeks, which isn't long, but it's still a couple weeks. And during that period that he was there, it was like multiple murders that he committed while he was staying there. Subsequently. Wow. Formula. Subsequently, you know what? I'm not even going to use that. So because he had stayed there, it had attracted other serial killers to stay there. I'll get into details of who, but there was some messed up people that stayed there just because he'd stayed there.
Wow.
To have that connection with him, I guess. So Cecil Hotel opened on December 20th, 1924.
That's my birthday.
Is it?
Yep.
What's with everything happening on your birthday?
Wow.
Same as maybe Gottfried stayed there.
Yeah, right.
So it opened as a luxury hotel, or what they were hoping to be a luxury hotel, but not that a lot was written, but I feel like they'd had problems from the get-go, even from buildings. Like, it was like the place was cursed before they'd even built it. So it must be in the land.
Yeah.
So it opened as a luxury hotel, but it did not last long as luxury hotel. It declined quite rapidly during the Great Depression and the decades following. The 14-floor hotel has 700 guest rooms, and in 2011 was renamed the Stay on Main. So I think I guess kind of like a rebrand. They probably didn't want to be known as. So renovations started in 2017 were halted by the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in the hotel's temporary closure. On December 13th, 2021, so roughly a year later, Cecil Hotel changed into an affordable housing complex, and a lot of the Skid Row homeless residents were living there.
Yeah.
So then you can imagine what that turned into. 2023 article, actually, I think it was in the LA Times, they took photos of the place as well and described it as a rundown hotel, which included black mold, vermin infestations, water leakages, graffiti, vandalism, and unsanitary communal amenities. That would have been probably because all the homeless were just trashing it. Didn't give a shit about the place. In 2024, the owners of the hotel, Simon Barron Properties, listed the hotel for sale, and I think it's still for sale. It was a place known for violence, suicide, and murder. So bit of more detail into the history. It was built in 1924 by 3 hoteliers: William Banks Hanna, Charles Dix, and Robert Shops. Sorry. As a destination for business travelers and tourists. It was designed by Loy Lester Smith in the Beaux Arts, sort of like Art Deco style, that really old school. And that cost $1.5 million to complete, which...
Wow, back then.
Yeah, back then, that's a lot of money.
Jesus.
To have not really benefited from that. It would have lost a lot of money. The hotel cost $1.5 million to complete and boasted an opulent marble lobby with stained glass windows, potted palms, and alabaster statuary. So what, just statues and shit everywhere. The 3 hoteliers invested about $2.5 million in the enterprise, like sort of all up, with the knowledge that several similar hotels were going to be built in the area, or ones that were sort of already there, kind of made into that same sort of level of luxury.
Yeah.
But within 5 years of its opening, the United States sank into the Great Depression. So none of those hotels opened and nothing went sort of how they'd planned. So all this money that they'd put into it, they've sort of lost. Although the hotel flourished as a fashionable destination throughout the 1940s, the decades beyond saw the hotel decline as nearby area known as Skid Row became increasingly populated with transients. You know what Skid Row is like now. I can't imagine what they thought was a lot back then.
Yeah. Because it's insane now.
Like they say pretty much every street. There isn't just a Skid Row. Every street is almost full of homeless. As many as 10,000 homeless people lived within a 4-mile or 6-kilometre radius of the hotel. So it was a very, wouldn't say a nice area.
Yeah, it's a massive amount of people in that smaller area.
I'd imagine businessmen travelling and needing to stay, they probably wouldn't pick that as a being in that area.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd pick like Hilton and shit. So there was a lot of weird things that happened sort of not consecutively, but it was just such a weird, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like there was just so many random things that happened with this hotel, and it's been, I guess, mentioned or like you probably, I think I bring up American Horror Story a lot, but there's the whole hotel season, I think, is based on Cecil Hotel. That's the vibe it gives. When I watched that season, this is all I was thinking about was Cecil Hotel. I think they even made it like out to look like it in the whole
pretty sure
Art
it
Deco
was,
style.
Yeah, it was supposed to be based on it. It would have had nothing but negative press.
Yeah. That's all it has is negative press, because there was the suicides, the different murders within the hotel. It was just constantly full of violence and all these heinous things that had happened in it. In 2008, a portion of the hotel was refurbished after new owners took over from there. In 2011, so a couple years later, part of the Cecil Hotel was rebranded as Stay on Main, with separate reception areas during the day, but with shared facilities, and its official website remained as thececilhotel.com. So I think that was like a part rebrand. The Cecil Hotel part stayed as like a housing trust, and then that Stay on Main was just the hotel portion. In 2014, the hotel was sold to New York hotelier Richard Bourne for $30 million. That's a lot of money. And that would have been still very run down then.
Yeah, I was going to say it would have been a dive.
And I feel like there's nothing salvageable about it to me.
I feel like if someone went in there, you'd have to spend stupid amounts of money.
Yeah.
But weirdos like us would go and stay there.
Yeah. Without changing it, you mean?
No, they'd have to like fix it and make it nice. But we'd go just to say that we stayed in the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah, that's true. There'd be a lot of weirdos like us.
But I don't want to be walking past bonfires in the fucking hallway.
Yeah, like you don't want homeless and shit to just... Yeah, you don't want to get fucking shanked just walking to your hotel room.
You get a free t-shirt if you get stabbed.
Yeah.
I got stabbed at the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, that'd be great. That's good marketing, guys, for you there. So I was saying, so it was sold for $30 million after a New York-based firm called Simon Barron Development acquired a 99-year ground lease on the property. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing he can't demolish it.
I think so.
That's how I would take that.
Basically, like, he is leasing the land, I guess. So whatever's on it, like, it basically is paying for the land, not for the building.
Let me Google this, because this is going to...
Because technically, if it's a lease, he wouldn't own it.
Yeah. He would... Let me... What is...
I love when I listen back to our episodes and you hear us like, oh, no, it means this. Oh, no, it means this. And then one of us will look it up and we're like, no, we're wrong.
We were both so wrong.
We can learn together.
A ground lease is a long-term lease agreement where a tenant leases vacant land for development, typically for periods ranging from 50 to 99 years, with the understanding that the tenant will construct buildings on the land, which then become the property of the landowner upon the lease's expiration. So he acquired a 99-year ground lease, which was the max. It was 50 to 99 years, and he's got a 99-year lease.
Wow.
Right. So in 2016, Matt Barron, president of the Simon Barron, said he was committed to the preservation of architecturally or historically significant components of the building, such as the hotel's grand lobby. His company planned to completely redevelop the interior and fix the hodgepodge work that had been done. So all the recent years before that was just random people trying to fix it. Then he bought it, tried to renovate it, and then that's when it closed because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So he'd put all this money into it already and tried to renovate it, and then all that delayed him, I guess. In February 2017, the Los Angeles City Council voted to deem the Cecil a cultural monument because it is representative of an early 20th century American hotel and because of the significance of its architect's body of work. So in April 2022, the historic Cecil Hotel room rate advertisement was illegally whitewashed. The original advertisement had been on the building since at least 1927. And it read Hotel Cecil low monthly weekly rates, which was then the monthly was changed to daily. So now my next, I guess, chapter, I've got the violence and the suicide. There is a long list. There's one main one that I guess people not looked up to it. Once one person did it was kind of like, oh yeah, that's such a great place for that. Yeah. So in 1931, W.K. Norton, he died in his room after taking poison capsules. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, more suicides at the hotel occurred. In 2008, 2 longtime residents referred to Cecil as the suicide. That's how many suicides happened there, that people just called the hotel the suicide.
Wow.
Cecil became a notorious rendezvous spot for adulterous couples, drug activity, and a common ground for prostitutes. So you can imagine what it was like. In 1964, a retired telephone operator named Pigeon Goldie Osgood, who had been a well-known and well-liked long-term resident at the hotel, was found dead in her room. She'd been raped, stabbed, beaten, and her room was ransacked. So not only were there suicides, it was a hot spot for violent crimes like this.
Did you say her name was Pigeon?
That was her.
Oh, her nickname.
Yeah. Well, I've got Pigeon Goldie in like,
I was going to say, poor girl copped it from the minute she was born. Pigeon.
Yeah. So Jacques B. Ellinger was charged with Osgood's murder because he was seen covered in blood roaming the streets close to the hotel, but was later cleared as a suspect. Her murder remains unsolved. So I think that was the first violent murder like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything has really been solved from there. So I've opened my little link here to timeline of incidents. It's not that long of a list. There was just a bit. It's a lot. For one hotel,
yeah,
it's
one
still
building,
a lot.
Yeah.
So the very first one was January 22nd, 1927, which Percy Osmond Cook stated in a letter addressed to the press that he was driven to suicide because of his separation from his wife and family. He added that he deliberated for a week before he killed himself. He shot himself in the head. He was found and was the very first suicide there, which kind of created this atmosphere. The next one, he was found dead in his room after ingesting poison capsules as well. So that one that I originally had in my history, he wasn't the original one, but I think his was maybe made more public. The next one was September 1932. So a year later was a gunshot to the head. He didn't leave a suicide note. A couple years later, this was pretty violent. I feel like when you think, I know suicide's a bit of a hard topic to discuss, but when you think of suicide, wouldn't you think of something that's not painful,
quick, yeah,
and something that's like you having to do something to yourself? I'd
want to be guaranteed that it worked.
Yeah. So this next person slit their own throat.
That always amazes me when you hear things like that.
Yeah.
How far gone do you have to be
to violently hurt yourself?
Throat?
Yeah. Yeah. He'd slashed his own throat with a razor and he'd left several notes, actually, one of which cited poor health as the reason for a suicide. So he was already suffering.
Yeah.
But that's just such a violent way. to do it. A couple years later, another person fell from their 9th-story window. Her fall was broken by telephone wires which were wrapped around her body. She later died at the now demolished Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Police were unable to determine whether Margot's death was the result of an accident or suicide. So obviously she'd left no notes. But having fallen, you question it.
Yeah.
The next one was falling from the building as well. Thompson jumped to his death from the window of his room after being a resident at the hotel for several weeks. His body was discovered atop a skylight of the next door building by a hotel employee. After that was ingested poisoning, then another ingested poisoning. There was one that was, here, in September 1944. This one's a bit sad. Herself was sharing a room at Cecil with her boyfriend, and unaware that she was actually pregnant, she went into labor while she was there. And she didn't want to wake her boyfriend up, so she went to the bathroom where she gave birth. I don't know how you managed to do that silently. This is like the quiet, what's that movie? She gives birth in the bathtub and they can't speak. Quiet Place?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that. Like, I give birth without screaming. So thinking the baby was dead, she actually threw it out of the window.
Oh, no.
Because she didn't want to, obviously, anger her boyfriend. The baby landed on a roof of an adjacent building. She was charged with murder, and 3 psychiatrists testified that she was mentally confused at the time of the incident. And in January 1945, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah.
Then a couple more years later, another one fell from building. Smith died after jumping from one of Cecil's 7th floor windows. And I found a pattern. A lot of them were the 7th floor.
I was going to ask if you found any pattern to like a certain room or a certain floor.
Yeah. So a lot of them that fell, like jumped or fell from the building, a lot of them, 99%, were from the 7th floor.
Wow.
Which is kind of trippy. So this is 1950. Oh, this is 47. Fell from, 7th floor. 54. Fell from 7th floor. Wow. Landed on top of Cecil's marquee. A lot of them had stayed a week or a couple of weeks prior, I guess, to suss out what they could do, kind of thing. 1962, another few years later, another fell from the building, did not leave a note. So a lot of the ones that they say fell from building, that's what it says, is fell from building. They're not sort of saying that they jumped.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them didn't have notes. So it makes you question.
Yeah.
I know you don't have to leave a note, which doesn't really prove anything, but it still makes you question. Did
they fall or were they thrown?
Yeah. And I think I realised, have you seen the movie 1408?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what Cecil makes me think of as well, that movie, where he's in there and paranormal stuff was happening in their room where they thought they were elsewhere kind of thing and jumped. Yeah. So now we are in 1962, another fall from the building. But this was a bit more fucked up. Pauline Otten and George Giannini were 2 that died.
Yeah.
And they originally thought that it was like a double suicide, but that's not the case. So Pauline had an argument with her estranged husband who had left the room prior to her suicide. So she landed on a pedestrian who was George Giannini.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how unlucky. So they both died instantly, but police initially thought that Otten and Giannini committed double suicide, but it was later determined that Giannini had his hands in his pockets at the time of his death and was still wearing his shoes, which would not have been possible had he jumped. So what are they saying? Like, if they
would have fallen off or something,
like flown off from that height.
Imagine just walking along, hands in your pocket, probably whistling a little tune.
Yep, exactly. Now we've come to Pigeon, or Goldie. So she was resident. So she'd, I believe, lived there for quite some time. A hotel worker discovered her dead in her room. She'd been raped, stabbed, and beaten, and her room was ransacked. So Osgood was well known around the area and had earned her nickname because she fed birds in a nearby Pershing Square. Near her body was the LA Dodgers cap she always wore and a paper sack full of bird seed. That's so sad. So after her murder, that Jacques Ellinger was seen walking through that same square that she fed the birds, covered in blood. So you'd think, I don't know. They obviously let him go. He was arrested and charged with her murder, but was later cleared of the crime. Her murder still remains unsolved. But you think, why was he covered in blood? Yeah. You think you'd kind of like follow on questioning that?
I didn't murder her. It was just a casual satanic sacrifice.
I don't know what it's from. So now we're down to 1975, the end of the year. This is another fall from the building. A still unidentified woman jumped from her 12th floor window onto the Cecil's 2nd floor roof, registered at the hotel under a fake name, and was staying in room 327.
Oh, wow.
So there'd be a lot of people, I guess, like you said, that have no family or just have no one. So they've kind of gone to this. What a place to end your life, though. Yeah. This is now September 1992. The body of an African-American man was found in the alley behind Cecil. Police said that he'd either fallen, jumped, or been pushed from the hotel's 15th floor. A 20 to 30-year-old male has never been identified. So there's a lot that they can't pinpoint. You know, no missing people. No one's reported someone missing or claiming. So then I've got 2 left. I'm going to do the very last one first, which was in 2015. And I don't know if that's the very last time someone actually did it or whether this hasn't been updated. But that was the body of a 28-year-old man was found outside the hotel. And a spokesman for the LA County coroner said that the death was believed to be suicide by defenestration, which he was jumped out of the building. So the one that I'd skipped was one that, if you know Cecil, I think this is probably the biggest one that people know, is Eliza Lamb.
Yeah.
So I've got way more details about her, but she was the case that was made bigger from that viral video of her playing in a fucking elevator with no one, peeking out. She looks like she was a kid playing.
It's funny because, like, you can look at it and watch it and see it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like she's playing, but then you can look at it again. It looks like she was terrified and she was trying to hide from something.
Yes.
But I feel like if she was scared, she would have been smashing that door close button.
Yeah. Because she was, I can't remember if she had her hands behind her back. So the video was of this girl named Eliza Lamb. She was playing in the hallways of Cecil Hotel, and it's security footage from their cameras. And there's footage missing, but then there is footage of her in the elevator, which was the main thing that went viral. It's from inside the elevator. The door opens, a girl walks in, bends down and sort of is looking at the numbers, reading them all. She starts pressing 2 or 3 buttons and then just stands in the corner. Then she just stands there for ages. Nothing's happening. The door isn't shutting. She's not pressing any more buttons. She's not really looking at anything. It's actually a very long video. So she's just mucking around, like jumping in, pressing buttons, but she's not pressing the door shut button.
Yeah.
So you'd think if she was scared and running from someone, she'd be smashing that just one button, door shut, door shut.
That's it.
So there's a story that Eliza Lamb was actually bipolar and had stopped taking her medication. A lot of her friends say she'd done this multiple times before and acted this same way. So it's very hard to sort of say, yes, this is what's happened.
Yeah.
So I've got in 2013, Cecil rebranded as Stay on Main, though still maintaining the original hotel signs, and painted advertisements on its exterior, became the focus of renewed attention when surveillance footage of a young Canadian student, Eliza Lamb, behaving erratically in the hotel's elevator was disseminated wildly in international media. I can't remember, this was before TikTok days, way before TikTok days. So the video depicts Lamb repeatedly pressing the elevator's buttons, walking in and out of the elevator, and possibly attempting to hide from someone. But I was just quickly watching it. It doesn't look like she's hiding in a scared way.
Yeah.
I always used to think it was a supernatural thing because I keep thinking of American Horror Story. The recording was done just before her disappearance, and she was last seen alive on January 31st and was reported missing by her parents on February 8th. After 19 days, her naked body was discovered in a water supply cistern on the hotel roof following complaints from guests of odd tasting water and low pressure. 1, yuck. So you've just been smashing down water with a decomposing body.
Could you imagine? Look, I'm sure we've ingested shit from our water that we never even know we ingested. Knowing about it?
Yeah.
Fuck right off. I don't think you would be able to throw up enough to ever feel cleansed of consuming someone's body juices.
So that was a huge topic and mystery behind her death, because this tank was on the roof. Firstly, I think in a place that you sort of don't have access as a resident there. And then secondly, there's like lid that's very heavy. This chick was a tiny little lady. She was found in there naked and it was shut. So they're saying, how could she have gotten in there and then shut it back on herself? There's so many things that you question.
That's it. And I feel like anything that's ever going to come from it's only going to be speculation.
Yeah,
unless they catch the whole thing on camera.
Yeah, you're not going to believe anything unless you see it for yourself. So yeah, some were saying that the water levels were high. She jumped in wanting to like cool down or whatever to swim. She was naked. I don't know, because you're by yourself up there, whatever, and then shut it. But it would be like pitch black in there. Why would you shut yourself in there?
Right. Yeah.
And then the more people used the water, the levels went down over time.
Yeah.
She couldn't then reach to get back out of it. The floor Lamb stayed on was one of the floors that did not have security footage. Oh, how convenient. I feel like that sounds dodgy, but at the same time, it's Cecil. You're surprised that they even had footage on any floor.
Yeah.
So because there was no footage, which left uncertainty as to whether her death was a homicide, until Lamb's sister had revealed to detectives that Lamb had a history of not taking her medication. So this was a recurring thing for her, apparently. When her friends said it, her family said it, she'd go on these periods where she wouldn't take her medication, and whether she hallucinated, she'd get into what she was acting like in this video is what they said she'd be like.
Yeah.
So among her possessions left at the hotel were several prescription medications, seemingly untouched. Lamb had previously been diagnosed with an extreme form of bipolar disorder and was known for displaying similar psychotic behavior in the past. The police ruled that her erratic behavior on the elevator was caused by a paranoid hallucination, as she had climbed into the tank herself, believing she was in danger. See, that to me, they're just kind of not palming it off. I feel like they're just being like, she was in danger, hallucinated, just kind of wiping their hands clean of it. Don't really want to look
Nothing
further
that
into it.
Obviously points to homicide, so it's like, she did it to herself.
Because she was in there for quite some time. Her body was very bloated. Is that way too late to try and get a cause of death then? Whether it was drowning
if she's in water, Yeah.
And then obviously with her body, because that would have sped up that decomposition so much faster, you wouldn't be able to see whether she was strangled or that
it.
Sort of
and
thing.
There'd be no evidence left to show if she was held under the water.
So it's such a hard case to look at with an open mind. So the LA County coroner ruled her death accidental due to drowning, with bipolar disorder being a significant factor. It's such an odd case. It just adds to the intrigue, I guess, of the hotel.
Yeah.
While an autopsy was performed on February 21st, was inconclusive in determining the manner of Lamb's death, Los Angeles County Coroner's Office subsequently ruled the death an accident. Guests at the stay on Main sued the hotel over the incident, and Lamb's parents filed a separate suit later that year, but was later dismissed in 2015. Some of the early internet interest noted what were considered to be unusual similarities between Lamb's death and the 2005 horror film Dark Water. Have you seen that?
No.
That's good. I probably don't need to go too much into her. She was just a student. She'd sort of given herself a break from her studies, and she'd started blogging, and her blogs were just everyday life things, going here, traveling there, whether it was fashion photos, quotes, posts in her own words. It wasn't depressing or anything. It was just everyday life, kind of like a journal, really, in the internet for everyone to see.
But I guess not taking your meds can change you pretty quickly.
So apparently a few days before her disappearance, she attended a live taping of Conan in Burbank, but was escorted off the premises by security due to disruptive behavior.
Yeah, so she was already losing
She's
the
already
plot.
kind of, things like that make you, especially with her friends and family saying this is exactly how she acts when she's not on her medication.
Yeah.
And then them finding medication in her room that was untouched. But I think it's the unknown.
And because so much unexplained shit's happened at Cecil, makes it so easy to wander off and go, it could have been this and that. To not just go, it was just a young girl who was having fun, so she thought she was fine, so she stopped taking her medication and she flipped her shit and it backfired and now she's dead.
But it's just the whole tank thing. That's what gets me. Like, she could have literally just been wandering around the hotel because she was waiting and to get up onto the roof and then was probably like, there's water in there, I'm just going to go for a swim.
It could have been which I would say the chances are it's literally as simple as that, but it's heaps more exciting if we tell the version where there's like a demon chasing her or something.
It is a bit more exciting. Because, I mean, you would think, why would any sane person want to go in there? But she was not sane. Because these tanks, there was 4 of them. They were 4 by 8 foot, which is like 2.4 meters, but 2.4 meters, sorry. And they were propped up on these massive concrete blocks. So they were big tanks. What would possess you to be like, I'm going to open this door. There's no way out for me if the water, I guess you're obviously not
mental
thinking
illness.
Of these things. Yeah. They even searched the roof See, there's very contradicting info as well. There was the whole speculation of it being paranormal because the door was shut, but then there's other stories that say the hotel employee who found her said the lid was open at the time. So it's contradicting info, which is what causes all these people people's minds to just go wild with theories.
Yeah.
There's so many random things that would point she was sort of losing the plot and put herself in there. But then there's things that, like the autopsy report, even though it was inconclusive to the cause of death, there was apparently certain information. For instance, it doesn't say what the result of the rape kit and fingernail kit were, or even if they were processed, but there was other records that it records pooling of blood in Lamb's anal area, which some observers suggest was a sign of sexual abuse. So then which report do you listen to? So much contradicting info online. So after her death, her Tumblr blog was updated, presumably through Tumblr's Q option, which allows posts to automatically publish themselves when the user is away. Her phone was not found either with her body or in her hotel room. Earlier in September 2013, her parents filed a wrongful death suit, claiming the hotel failed to inspect and seek out hazards in the hotel that presented an unreasonable risk of danger to her and other hotel guests, and seeking unspecified damages and burial costs. The hotel argued it could not have reasonably foreseen that Lamb might have entered the water tanks, and since it remained unknown how Lamb was able to get into them, no liability could possibly be assigned for failing to prevent it, which I guess is understandable.
Yeah,
so in 2015, the suit was dismissed. So her case had actually been used as inspiration for a lot of creative works. There was that movie. I don't know if they used that to create the movie, but there's a huge coincidence of what happens in that to her death. There was also an episode in Castle. I've never watched that show. In one of the episodes titled Watershed, the duo pursue leads in the death of a young woman found in the rooftop water tank of the Cedric Hotel.
Jesus.
Jeez, you couldn't have completely changed the name. They also had a episode in How to Get Away with Murder with a similar storyline. In Hong Kong, where Lamb's family is from, also inspired by the case, a director made a movie called Hungry Ghost Ritual. There was also, in mainland China, another director announced that he'd be making a film based on it. Like a American Horror Story. I think that was my favorite sort of interpretation of Cecil is through American Horror Story. I know it's so far-fetched with what it ended up being, like Lady Gaga was a vampire or something. I can't remember exactly.
Vampire orgies or some
or like
shit.
Undead kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was a really good representation of the craziness of what could go down in Cecil. Like with the whole was it that killer? Who was Evan? God, I've just gone blank. He was really good. He does so well in those.
Yeah.
And I understand fully why he needs a break from playing these characters. Evan Peters he's an amazing horror actor.
Yeah, absolutely. American no one else could have done Dharma like he did.
I'm actually really excited to see the portrayal of Ed by
Charlie Hunnam. See, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I want to see the Ed Gein series, but like Ed Gein was a creepy old man, not like a. Like,
I think
you can't make Charlie Hunnam unattractive.
I think they'll do it well, though. Ryan Murphy has this way of making something, I don't know how to say, he has a way of making something not pretty. He just has a really good way of directing and portraying these things. But that'll be an interesting one. I love it because in American Horror Story, the hotel, it's called Cortez.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Love it.
I think I only watched a couple of episodes of that season.
It's actually good. So they have like the Night Stalker rocks up in it, and spend some time there. Like
it got to like the vampire orgies, and I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Same with like Roanoke. I thought I was gonna fucking love Roanoke, and I got 4 or 5 episodes in, and I've tried to watch it multiple times.
Yeah,
and I just can't.
I haven't watched that one at all. I skipped that whole one.
I loved the first season, Murder House.
I've watched that multiple times.
Because like when you work out that she was dead, especially the first time.
That was such a good reveal.
Oh my God. And I loved Asylum. Freak Show I liked, but Freak Show was kind of like getting that little bit far-fetched. Yeah. Whereas like Asylum and Murder House were a bit more realistic.
Yes. Even though there's supernatural and whatever in it wasn't like you said, vampire orgies and shit.
And then it just started getting too fantasy, and I guess I just kind of lost interest.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I could be so good.
It was such a good, like We just went on the full TV show tangent. I think because the Cecil's just been represented so much in media and shows and movies.
It's like a whole character of its own.
Yeah.
It's a building, but it's got its own personality.
Like the whole building itself is an urban legend of all these things that have happened or can happen in it.
And there'd be that many stories out there that we don't know.
Exactly. I just read a whole list of suicides, but there's so many things that wouldn't be noted down.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like there'd be so much more to it. And I guess to an extent you get that when you fill a place with a certain demographic. Like, and 700 rooms, like that's a pretty shitload of people. So even by like percentages, really, you're going to have all these stories coming out of it. How much bad can happen on a place before it starts tainting the place?
What I didn't note down, I was saying the black, what did I? Oh,
Elizabeth
the Black
Shaw.
Dahlia. Yeah, Elizabeth Shaw. So she stayed there.
Yeah,
that's going to be a good case to do. I'll leave that one for you.
Thank God. It's like one of my favorite. Like, not. I don't think favorite's the right word, but like that was very
like interested passionately kind of thing.
Yeah, it got me interested in true crime.
So the Black Dahlia, we'll do a whole separate episode on that. So she wasn't, well, we don't actually know. I was going to say she wasn't killed there, but we don't really know.
Yeah.
Because her case is unsolved, but hers was a very intense death. So she'd stayed at the hotel at some point for quite some time. Whether she was murdered there or not is unsolved. She had her face cut from her mouth to the corner of her eye, pretty much, which they call I had it written down
Chelsea
somewhere.
grin.
Yeah, it was like some sort of grin. She'd been mutilated. There was a very violent death with her. I didn't note it down in the list of deaths because she wasn't found at the property. She was found in an empty field very close to the hotel.
Yeah, but I believe she was actually staying there when
resident. Yes. So that's why they semi-connected it to that. Haven't put it down as a Cecil death. So we'll do a whole episode on that because there's a lot behind hers and very graphic murder. Like it just feels so much hatred in her
Absolutely.
death. What was done to her, and you're like, you'd have to passionately be so angry at her.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any way the person who killed her only killed her.
You think there was more than one?
Absolutely. And I will happily wear that, absolutely.
Yeah. And she was stunning.
Yeah, she was beautiful. She's 22 or something, I think.
40. Holy shit. She was like 23. That's very young. Shit. Well, we'll do that in one of the next ones. With our next episode, we're going to do... I know we haven't really finished this. There's no way to finish this because there's no sort of outcome. The hotel still stands and is used to today and still being used and trying to renovate it, whether they rebrand with a new name, it's still going to be that same hotel.
Yeah.
It's still going to be, at the moment, very run down by homeless people, and don't think that's going to change for a while. The state of LA at the moment.
Exactly.
Their homeless situation. So there's no real way to sort of finish this episode because there's no conclusion, there's no outcome, no one's been arrested for anything. All these deaths, suicides, obviously you can't sort of pinpoint other than the person that's done it, but all the murders and things still unsolved. So it's hard to conclude this with a nice little bow. It's a bit difficult. So
we'll update you in a year's time with a whole new list of new suicides.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more to add to it.
Oh, I'm not laughing at people killing themselves, by the way.
Yeah.
Kind of apologize.
Well, so our next episode, we've actually done some planning. We're gonna do a whole episode of urban legends. Yes. We're both doing some research independently, and we're gonna bring these cases, well, not cases, these myths and urban legends to...
And we haven't told each other what we're doing.
Yeah, so we'll see if we pick the same ones, see what's very known or not known.
Yeah.
I've got one there's like movie about it.
Yeah.
So that's obviously known-ish. I've started finding a lot that's sort of based on certain cultures or certain one that I've got that's like Mexican folklore kind of thing.
Oh,
so it's like very based
Did you do La Llorona?
I did.
You know what's funny?
Did you do it as well?
No, but I was going to. I was researching La Llorona this morning.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, nah, I feel like that's too obvious. So I picked something else because I thought there was going to be a really good chance that we were both going to do La Llorona.
I just love saying La Llorona. So I was like, I'm going to do this one. That's funny.
Fucking hilarious. That's so good. That would have been so funny. As soon as you said Mexican, that's why I started smirking. I was like, you're doing La Llorona.
I don't know. I think I love Mexican culture. Us with the whole Cortezes and stuff and lowriders. I think it was just on my mind. It's got a lot of history behind it.
Oh, it's insane.
So that'll be a good one.
Nice.
But other than that, I don't know how to finish this one off.
If you're going to kill yourself in the Cecil Hotel, leave a note so they know it was suicide, not a murder.
Yeah, and then it's not like unresolved.
And then we know what list to put you on.
Yeah, a couple of different lists. Psycho, hallucinating, suicide, and then butchered. Wow.
Oh,
well, that's that episode. As Jade will say, hit that little bell.
Yes.
Subscribe, and then you know when we've released an episode.
Hit us up on TikTok and remind me to post videos.
And give us some suggestions. We're very open to that. Not that we don't have a list of things we want to do already.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be very nice to sort of see
what things you guys want to hear.
Yeah. Because what we're excited about, you guys might not be excited about.
Sounds good.
So that was the Cecil Hotel. We will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.